That's Hunter.
Yo, what's truly good with you guys? Today we are back in Logic Pro 11 and we have a new point update. So this is the version 11.1.2 and we have some slightly new features in here. One in particular being we can actually change our settings here. If we go to this drop down and go to customize bar and display, we can actually see some new options in here. So we actually have our sample rate we can add, which is a nice touch. We're gonna capitalize on this. So I'm actually gonna change this from 44 to 48. Perfect. So now we're already at 48 Hertz starting out at the gate. Then we have our buffer size, which is a really nice touch where we can actually change that instead of always pulling up our shortcuts, doing Option P and going into audio and changing it this way. So let's get cooking. Let's get a vibe going. So that's solid. I'm gonna hit Q to quantize, and then I'm gonna do Command D to duplicate the track. And now we can start adding other layers in, like a kick, snare, and all the things. Perfect. I'm gonna hit Q, quantize that to a 16th note. And then for this kick, I'm actually gonna pitch it down. There we go. Different tone. So now we can add some EQ to it. Get a little punchier. Perfect. So now what I'm gonna do is add a session drummer, and we're gonna get a hi-hat pattern out of the session drummer. So we're gonna do Option and Command and N all together. We're gonna come over here to Session Player, go to Drummer, and Neo Soul is fine. Hit Create. So what we only want from this is just a hi-hat. So we're gonna take out the kick and the snare. Then we're gonna change this pattern to pattern 7. Perfect. Now what I'm gonna do is turn the fill amount off, and then we're gonna come over here to details, and then I'm gonna turn this dynamics down to get more of an aggressive hi-hat. Perfect. So I'm gonna come into the compressor over here, and this time we're gonna actually kind of slam the hi-hat just a little bit more than what they have it. So we're gonna turn this threshold up. Perfect.
That's Hunter.
Now, if you're really serious about taking your Logic Pro experience to the next level and beyond, then my Logic Pro Masterclass is going to be the solution for you, because I take all of these concepts, mixing, mastering, sounds, automation, and so much more in time and care into this class to make it easy and digestible for you to understand. Now, I completely understand if you're a beginner and you're trying to figure out Logic and trying to figure out how to record. I've also included chapters for the ultimate beginner where you know nothing about recording. You will still be able to follow along. So if you want to enroll in that course, I'll leave that tag below for you guys so you can have access to it. So to get some more feel out of it, we're going to add some percussion. So we're going to do Option, Command, and N again. And this time we're going to do drummer. But over here, we have some other options. So we can come over here to type. We can actually go to Percussionist. And so we can try some songwriter. I'm gonna take the tambourine out and the clap out. So now we just have the shaker. Let's go back to the Cajon drum. So I'm gonna roll off some of that low end. So what we're gonna do now is add a Rhodes groove from the Modi X Plus. Perfect. So you can double click on it and just name it Rhodes. And then we can come to this audio file up here and just name that Rhodes. Perfect. Now the next thing I'm going to do is add some bass. And the patches that I'm going to be using is from my expansion pack. Now the subsequent 37 expansion also works for Logic Pro by dragging and dropping in the one shots. So you'll be able to have the equivalent of the sub 37 if you don't own the piece of hardware. So you'll be able to add the one shots into Logic. So I made sure to include that. Let's add some bass. Sick. So what we can do is add some harmonics to this, and we can actually use some of the stock plugins for this. So one of the plugins that you can use is the Distortion. We're going to come over here to Distortion 2. And so what we can do is add some drive and harmonic character from this. See there? Ooh. Let's turn it off. On. So it gets a little grittier. Ooh. So we can get some more of the output. Yeah. Now, if you want to get more crazier with it, you can actually add some more distortion by coming over here to Distortion and then going to the Distortion plugin. This is going to give you a more radical distortion. See? That actually sounds dope, just adds more character. Now, one thing that helps me a lot is to start to mix as I go, as you guys are seeing. So what I like to do is turn everything down. And so I'm paying attention to my output meters here. So I'm going to hit X for our mixer. And I'm looking at the output and I see we're already clipping, so we need way more headroom. So I'm going to turn everything down even more. So that's a good place to start. So I'm going to add a third-party plugin for our limiter here. And what's so dope about this new update is we can now finally search for plugins. So I can type in the God particle and add that in. And I actually like to mix into this limiter because it gives me a really nice commercial sound. Loving this. This is super dope. So now that we have this, I'm going to add some ambient stuff here. So we're going to scroll on down to my template and I have some guitar samples in Arcade that I love to use. This is the Gravel Rhodes preset that they have. I'm going to change the key because we're currently in the key of C sharp major. Perfect. So I'm going to add a couple of things. I'm going to add a few layers from here. So what we're gonna do is Control and B to bounce this in place, and I'm gonna name this GTR1. So I'm gonna delete this MIDI, and now we can add another layer. So take that layer and do the same thing. This would be GTR2. So we can turn all of these down. So for this one, we're going to add some third-party reverb. I am going to use Valhalla, and we can just search for it. There it is, Valhalla Vintage Verb. Just spreads it out and just opens it up even more. So what I'm going to do now is pan these guitars. So one thing we need to do is talk briefly about the pan laws. So the stock pan law is set to balance. We actually need to change these to stereo. This way we can actually pan these to the true left and to the true right instead of just turning down one side. If you guys got any value out of this video, give your brother a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss anything else from the channel. And I'll holler at you guys on the next one. Peace.